The GameTime Podcast is sponsored by Matt Gaddis at State Farm. Whether it's your car, home, or renter's insurance, Mac's got you covered with fast, reliable service and a personal touch that you can trust. His info is on screen right now, so reach out today and see why so many people rely on Matt Gaddis. Big thanks to Mac for supporting the GameTime Podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GameTime Podcast. We are coming to you after week 3 of the college football season. I've got the whole crew with me today. We've got Darrell, we've got Coach Ramon in the building. We haven't seen Ramon in a minute, but it's good to have Ramon back. He's been busy. Obviously, you guys know we call him Coach Ramon for a reason. He's a football coach, but he graced us with his presence today on the show. He did a holdout because he didn't get his T-shirt, but luckily we did some negotiations, so we got him back on the show. So he's back full time now. So it's good to have Coach Ramon back, and Ohio State won. So maybe that's also got something to do with it. So he's feeling good today. We've got a lot to talk about in this college football window. We're even going to preview next week as well. So we've got that video all ready to go. But fellas, obviously since I intro the show and everything else, I'm going to give you guys the floor first. Ramon and Darrell. Well, Darrell, I know you usually go after me. Darrell, what do you want to talk about?
Man, the great games that were yesterday. We have about 5 or 6 of them that were just barn burners. I'd like to start off with Clemson and Georgia Tech first. You know, at the beginning of the season, Clemson was talked about as potentially an undefeated season, ending the season in the national championship berth. Yeah. Clemson now has 2 losses on their record, and Georgia Tech, while they came out hot in the first half yesterday, second half started. Clemson went down, immediately scored, turned the tide a little bit. Got up on Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech did not fold. They continued to fight. And then that kicker was ice cold water in his veins. 55-yard field goal as time expired to win the game. The crowd rushed the field, $50,000 fine. I got a feeling they're willing to pay that fine after beating an organization like Clemson and the way they won that game. I'm not talking about a game-winning field goal with then there's 3 minutes to go. Game-winning field goal, and there's nothing to go. Awesome job by Georgia Tech. Their coach is a real dude, and I like where they're going. I really do in the ACC. What do you think about that, Ramon?
Man, I think if you guys go back and check some of our early recordings, and we talk about Clemson, I've mentioned that I thought Dabo was done in Clemson, that he lost it in that particular place. I think he's a great coach. I think he's outstanding. But I think that his time has come and gone in Clemson, and they're no longer elite. When we first spoke about those guys, Clemson and LSU, I was like, hey, I'm going with LSU for a certain reason. And now Georgia Tech has gotten the W against them. I just think that the marriage is over in Clemson with Dabo and the Tigers. They haven't been elite. What did we say last time I asked that question? They haven't been elite in years.
Maybe 5 years.
And they still not going to be elite, man. Sometimes you just need a new voice. You need a new driver at the seat. You need a new, a new thing, a new fling, a new whatever. But it's time to go to separate directions. I think that he'll be great somewhere else. I think Clemson will regain momentum with somebody else. But I think that marriage, it's over. It's over if you're looking for success at the elite level. Now, if you're looking for middle of the road or good, he can still stay and be comfortable, and that's what they're going to get. But they're no longer elite. And I can see them losing a couple more to teams that we have no idea or won't even think that they should lose to.
Florida State, man, is coming at the end of that. Yeah. It doesn't look easy anymore, does it?
I click on, I take a look at their, because let's be serious. They should have lost to Troy. Yeah. Troy had them on. If Troy has a couple more playmakers this game, they're 0-3, right? They can mess around and lose to who else they got? They can mess around and lose to Florida State, And other than that, their schedule's kind of winnable. Syracuse, Carolina, Boston College, SMU didn't look good. Louisville, Furman, South Carolina, depending on what's going on with their coach. with their quarterback. But they're not a playoff team.
I would agree with that. Isaiah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, we were talking about, we overreacted, right? We said DeBoer's out of Bama. I mean, we'll see what happens there, but Dabo may be out of Clemson. That's a realistic possibility. But the question I pose to you guys is, where does he go? Because he's going to be sought after. He's going to get paid a lot of money. Where does he go? If you guys had to think, a couple names off the top of my head that I think about, right? That I think could be interesting, just because there's a couple teams that want to get back or want to take that next step. And I don't know if Dabo can get them there, but the name would make you think so. So a name that comes to mind is Texas Tech, right? They've got the money, they've got the resources, they're building something. Now that means they'll probably keep their head coach. It's just a name that I'm thinking of. UCLA, right? They look like they do need a change. They just lost to New Mexico. Those are two teams just off the top of my head that I would throw out in the ring right there. Maybe an SEC team, right? Maybe Missouri, something like that. Or maybe he stays in conference to compete with Clemson. And maybe he wants to get some revenge if he's let go by Clemson. What ACC team would that be? I don't know. Obviously, it looks like Florida State's going to have a decent season. If they were bad this year, I'd probably say maybe Florida State's a contender to get them. But where would you guys see Dabo Swinney ending up, or what's some interesting schools where he could probably end up?
For me, not to go deep down in the well, I mean, he's still beloved there in Clemson, right?
Yeah.
And to that point, I think they're going to be willing to hang on to him as long as they can to try to reinitiate that magic he had 5 to 8 years ago. But also, you got to look at Florida. Billy Napier is a guy who's got 1 foot on a banana peel and 1 foot on the sheet of ice. Okay, that DJ Lagway let him down yesterday. It would be a nice segue. We can go into that. DJ Lagway let him down yesterday, big time, 5 interceptions. LSU wanted them to win the game. So I would say, for me, him. Looking at the Florida opportunity, if that was to come about. I know there's been a lot of talk about him at Bama. He is a Bama graduate. He was on the 92 championship team. No, leadership at Bama has said no to Dabo, just like they said no to your guy at Ole Miss. So I don't know. I would say Florida at this point would be probably the lead dog if they made the move on Billy Napier and backed up the Brinks truck to get him.
Yeah, Napier's got to go. He probably should have went last year. And Darrell, we talked about it a little bit. Ramon, you weren't here when I brought it up, but I watched the SEC documentary on Netflix, and apparently last season the donors already had the money built up to get Napier out of there. They were ready to buy his contract out, stuff like that. And a lot of people were like, it was Lagway that basically saved him. And when they beat Ole Miss last year, that kind of helped him keep his job. I don't think there's going to be a moment like that. I think, we were very high on Lagway at the start of the preview this season.
Let's correct that. You were very high on Lagway.
Okay, I was very high on Lagway.
Okay, you were in love. You were in love.
I'll take the stones there. But yeah, I thought Lagway was going to be really good, and maybe he will be really good. He's very young. I think he's only a sophomore, I think.
Yeah.
So he's got time to develop and get better. That was a rough game against an LSU team that is ranked 3rd in the country, but they didn't come to play, and I think it's time for Florida to move off of Billy Napier. You got to find somebody that can bring the Florida Gators back to prominence, because the SEC, and me and Ramon were talking about it a little bit before we recorded, like the SEC, it feels wide open, and I think, obviously we can go to Florida next, but with the way Georgia played against Tennessee, and no discredit to Tennessee, but it once again gives me this idea. And then I look at Texas, which I'm going to bring that up too. The two teams that we thought were going to be the Monstars from Space Jam, they look a bit human as we're a couple weeks into the season. Texas does not look that good. Georgia's played cupcakes up to this point, so maybe that was their reason why the game was so close. They finally played some competition, and it was their first game that was going to be tough this year. Maybe they'll get in stride against the next top team they play, but my big takeaway in these first couple weeks is the two monsters of the SEC that we all thought that they were going to be don't look as monstrous as we thought. They look a little bit human. And a team like LSU, a team like Texas, I can't say a team like South Carolina now, but we talked about those teams that were on the fringe of being SEC championship contenders in LSU and Tennessee, Darrell. And now it kind of feels like more than ever they may be more realistic contenders than we thought.
Well, potentially, but you know, like we talked about also beginning of the season with NIL and the transfer portal, you can change things in the season, right?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, including myself, felt Texas was the lead dog in the SEC 100%. You know, they've shown they played tough against Ohio State, but the next two games they played, they haven't been very impressive. Even though they blew out the team last week, they haven't been very, very impressive. Looks as though my guy for the Heisman Trophy at the beginning of the season not only has zero chance of that. If he plays like he played yesterday, there's a chance he could be benched.
Yeah,
he played that bad. He was doubting. He doesn't look like he has the confidence to be able to play and make the throw. He still has that hitch in his throw. That interception he threw at the in the end zone on that scramble play, same thing as Ohio State. He was late. It seems as though he was hoping someone would make a play. And again, you know, I thought Texas was going to be a monster this year, absolutely. But as it stands now, that's not the case. But with that said, we've got 8 weeks left to go, and things can change because they do have talent. But right now, to your point, LSU looks like the top dog in the SEC to me.
Ramon, I want to give you a chance to speak on Billy Napier in Florida, and then obviously I want to get your thoughts on the rest of the SEC as well. But what are your thoughts for the Swamp?
I'm gonna back up for 1 second. I want to talk about teams I think Dabo could go to. I got 3.
Okay.
You guys mentioned them all. Mentioned them all except one. You know, I could see a marriage with him in Florida. Definitely. He's used to the recruiting the South. He can do that. That's a powerful alumni, great budget. Facilities are good. That's a good place. All right, that's 1. 2, UCLA. Talked about UCLA. All right, they need a spark like that. And I think that he will give them the spark to win the West Coast and to win the battle in recruiting in California. All right, so that's 2. 3, my dark horse, University of Wisconsin.
Hey, because, man, I got to ring the bell for you on that one because after this year, he's probably gone.
Yep. University of Wisconsin. They will embrace Dabo and love him. The community, the state.
He's an all shucks guy, too. He one of all shucks guys. Yeah.
That will make
good call.
That will be a great call. Now, back to them Florida Gators. What they do this? So gator with no teeth, they gum and everything. They no more bite. It's done. It's done. When someone say, "What about them gators?" I'm looking down and see what kind of shoes he got on. I'm thinking that somebody got some gator shoes on because it can't be the football team because they are not. It's over. It's over for them. They need to, if they could, they need to go ahead and write him a check right now. Say, "Hey, man, who gonna be the interim?" And let's start this all over.
Yep.
All right, because no need to carry this out to 13, 14 games. No need to have all them kids jump in the portal. No need to not be able to get kids out of the portal because they don't know who the head coach is going to be. Go ahead and start this right now. Go ahead and start the search, the tampering, the money, all that right now because that's what they do. Go ahead and start it now. Don't wait. Because the SEC, and I'm not an SEC fan, I am an official SEC hater. All right? Just put that out there. I'm a Big Ten guy.
We're clear.
You sure? You're positive? Yeah. Okay, now we're clear. But the SEC needs another team to be good quickly. You know, it's been supported by Georgia and Alabama for years. Alabama's going down a little bit. But they need a third or fourth team. They need Auburn to get good again. They need Florida to get good again. They need Tennessee to be a real contender and not a fake contender. They need that additional person, you know, additional team. So I hope they go get somebody good that walks into Florida and do their thing.
And I feel horrible for Lenora Sellers in South Carolina because one, that play wasn't even it was a dirty hit from what it looked like to me. I feel horrible because this happened to Sellers last year too, where he gets hurt. And I think South Carolina probably was more fraudulent than contender, but still, you needed that team because They were interesting. Darrell, me and you have been talking about South Carolina for the last couple of weeks, and we didn't say they were contenders, but we said they're interesting. They're there, but they're not there, and it just sucks because Lenore Sellers he's what makes this team. That's just what makes that team goes. That's the fuel to the engine for this team, and it showed yesterday. The minute he went down, this game was over, and it's unfortunate for Sellers because I think Sellers needed this season to be good for his draft stock and everything else. I think he can play another year, but I don't think, ideally, I don't think he wants to. Obviously, you want to try to get to the draft, but you're also getting paid, so maybe you don't. I don't know. People have their different aspirations.
The other thing with that is, too, he has an example of a big, strong arm, athletic quarterback who hasn't had a lot of time as a starter. That guy was picked fourth by the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah. So there's an example of Lenore Sellers, right? So if I'm Lenore Sellers, I want to stay in. I want him to stay in school. I'm not a Carolina fan, but just from his development, he's got to see those things, right? He's a big, strong guy. It's a tough hit yesterday. Concussed, man. That he could be out 2, 3, 4, 5 games potentially.
That could end.
And if that's the case, I would definitely lock it up and say, come back next season. 100%. But a lot of times these young guys I'm ready to get to my contract so I can get my first contract out of the way.
Yeah.
So it depends on who his handlers are and what his agent tells him to do, and his family.
Him and the head coach have a good relationship. So that could definitely play a factor in him staying. I would like to see Sellers stay at South Carolina. Ramon, what are your thoughts on Sellers in North Carolina?
North Carolina?
South Carolina, my bad. We're not talking about them.
You know what? I like to see the kids stay.
I would too.
I like to see the kids stay. I like to see a little bit more success. Yeah, I hope everything's okay with them. But I hope to see the kids stay. I want to see him make a run. I want to see him down in one of the 5 that's sitting there waiting to hear their name announced for that illustrious award at the end of the year at some point. But you got to do what you got to do what's best for you. And if injuries start playing a part in your decision, you got to err on your future.
Yeah.
Support your future, but I would like to see him in South Carolina for the duration.
No, I would too. When we look at the SEC, and I've been talking about it a lot with Darrell, and I kind of agree with you, right? When you look at it from a contender standpoint, it definitely feels open, right? I think LSU is. I think we can. I don't want to say they're contenders yet, right? And I think it's really because of Brian Kelly. I can't say they're the favorites. There's no way they're the favorites, in my opinion. I think Georgia, that was not the best version of Georgia yesterday. It was a tough game. It was a great game for fans, don't get me wrong. But for the sake of Georgia, I think Georgia's going to be fine. They looked human. The defense didn't look great. You allowed 41 points, of course. But when you look at contenders in the SEC right now, I think it's Georgia, LSU, and then Texas is down by a significant gap in third. And I'm very concerned about Texas at this point. And they're in the videos last week with Arch. It looks like he's in pain when he's throwing the football. And then the first half against UTEP, it didn't look good. I think there's a reason to be concerned about the Longhorns in Texas. And Darrell just brought it up about the Heisman and stuff like that. Who is the Heisman favorite at this point? Jared, who in your guys' mind right now would you say has that looks good at this point? I said Jeremiah Smith. I haven't been watching Ohio State play since they played Texas, so I can't speak to how he's done against the cupcake teams they've played.
The tough part is, man, as we talked about this Heisman Trophy, piece. It's a quarterback award, usually going towards the higher end team, right? Top 5, top 8 team, unless that player does what Travis did last year or does
When you say does what Travis did last year, that means get somebody who markets him well.
That's why I said it's a hype award. It doesn't go to the best player, and I've said that since day one. And when I say what Travis did, he was on the tube. People were watching, and people were talking about him. That's what I'm talking about, right? Yep. Now you talk about two guys that won that award that weren't quarterbacks of recent, Devontae Smith and Travis, right? Two big different things, right? Devontae Smith had a career receiving type of year, almost 1,700 yards receiving. I think he scored 21 touchdowns. I think he ran 3 or 4 punts back on the national title team, right? Yeah. So you got to have something like that. And then the other side of that is the Travis deal. You got a coach that's marketing you, a nation that's marketing you. You're in front of everybody's eyes for everything, good, bad, and indifferent, right? It needs to be something like that. Unfortunately, for my favorite offensive player this year, we've already talked about him, a guy who works up there in Columbus, Ohio. He's not a hype machine. He just goes out there and balls. He was, I think, 8 for 170 yesterday and 2 touchdowns. And because you know why? I'm always watching him. I'm not an Ohio State fan, but I love that dude, man. But the challenge for him is his coach isn't very likable, right? With the shoe polished beard. I'm talking about nationally. I'm not talking about Ohio State fan. Shoe polished beard, right? Then you got this Ohio State, right? You know, you got your Michigan folks there and all of that. So he's not in a place or a situation where it's going to, to expose him as the guy he really is. But I promise you this, those NFL scouts are saying that. You got 2 guys in Ohio State who are going to be in the top 5 players pick in next year's draft.
You can take Jeremiah Smith first overall over a quarterback. I don't think anyone's going to bat an eye.
Well, it depends on who's the number 1 pick. I mean, you're not going to pick a receiver if you don't have a quarterback first. Let's be real here. What I'm saying is those 2 guys, my guys, Caleb and Jeremiah, will be top 5 picks in this upcoming. No, he's a sophomore.
Caleb will be top 5 this year.
Caleb will be top 5 this year, and Jeremiah will be top 5 next year. Yep. That's how much I think about those 2 guys.
Yeah. If you hop on FanDuel, they got like Carson Beck leading. Boy from Oklahoma, second. John as a Mateer. Gunnar Stockton, Dante Moore, Marcel Reed. Julian saying is over Jeremiah Smith.
That tells you everything you need to know that it's the quarterback award.
Quarterback award, man.
That is the blueprint. I think we should probably wait until about week 8.
I'm hating on Carson Beck, but Carson Beck will probably. I think Carson Beck will stick in that top 5.
It's at nausea, man.
If the U goes undefeated, Carson Beck will probably win it.
Because and the story, he's coming from Georgia. A lot of people didn't think he would do well. I didn't think he would do well. Yeah. And
I said he landed on 3rd base when he got to Georgia. I said it. Absolutely. Because you know why? Because he looked putrid in every big game he played last season.
Well, he's winning. He's winning early on.
And then imagine Miami goes undefeated. Carson has a good year, right? Georgia doesn't win the SEC. Oh my gosh, that's just.
Hey, Kirby Smart may have an aneurysm.
Hand him the trophy.
Are we buying LSU yet?
I bought them at the beginning of the season.
Other than 3 weeks in, we're buying them.
They've got a coach who's going to wet the bed sooner or later.
Yeah,
they got. Listen, I said it. I believe LSU has the most talent from number 1 to number 99 in the SEC right now. Physical talent, I absolutely do. But they've got the difference maker, and that's that coach. And he's going. Yesterday was his opportunity to wet the bed. If DJ Lagway wouldn't have bailed him out, yesterday would have been his opportunity.
Yeah, because it was 20-10 like for the whole second half. So yeah, for sure. Ramon, what are your thoughts on LSU?
LSU has the most likable coach in the nation.
Sure. Sure he does. Sure he does.
I didn't freeze, y'all. That was just my straight face. Check it out one more time. the most likable coach in the nation.
I
We
guess.
podcast to win. We podcast to win.
Listen, man.
I think LSU will make the playoffs this year. This is me actually being serious. In spite of, not because of. Listen to what I'm saying. In spite of, not because of. They won't win because they've maxed out their potential and hit their ceiling. They'll win because the floor is so low for some other teams. And I think that those teams can touch that floor before LSU would touch their floor. So I think they're going to get in. They'll come in. They'll hit the playoffs through the back door with the poo shiesty on and slide in there. All right?
So
I don't think they're great. I think they're good. But I think they have the personnel and the parts to be great.
When I look at LSU's schedule, go ahead, Ramon.
They just may not have the drivers to be great. And what I mean by drivers, talking about coaching staff.
Yeah. Okay. I think LSU. I buy LSU for sure. Garrett Nussmeier looks like one of the best quarterbacks in college football right now. And when I look at their schedule,
you must not watch the game last night, then, huh?
It wasn't a good game, but I've been impressed so far. Obviously, last night was rough. Don't get me wrong. But when I look at their schedule, they've got 3 away games that are going to be difficult. They got to go to Ole Miss, they got to go to Alabama, and they got to go to Oklahoma. And Oklahoma is a team we haven't started talking about until last week, Darrell. And we said maybe. One of my cousin, he's an Oklahoma fan, and he told me before the Michigan game, he was like, "Don't sleep on Oklahoma. They can make some noise this year." And now I got to keep an eye on them, right? They beat Michigan. I'll definitely keep an eye on them as the season goes long. Ramon, you're the college football guy out of the 3 of us. When you look at the SEC, just kind of break it down for me. Who are your contenders? Who are the people that you're kind of looking at, and who are the guys that you're saying are fraudulent? You're not.
Let me pull up the SEC boys real quick.
Okay.
All right. Who are the contenders in the SEC? And you mean contenders to win that conference or to be in the playoffs?
Well, let's say the conference / playoff bid. Obviously, there's you can tell me the
2 out of the SEC. So two teams in the SEC are going to get in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So you got to look at it that way as well too.
I think I like LSU.
Okay.
Just because I think the conference is down a little bit. I like Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I like Ole Miss.
Okay. Contenders or they're going to miss out.
I think the 4 teams that have a chance to make the playoffs are Ole Miss, Georgia, LSU, and Alabama. The 5th team will be South Carolina, depending on their quarterback. I think all 5 of those teams have a legit chance to win or to make the playoffs. All 5. You know, I think Texas is a pretender. I think Tennessee is a pretender. I think both of those guys are pretenders. I think A&M is a pretender. I think Oklahoma is a pretender. And when I say pretender, I don't mean that they're just faking it. I just think they don't have enough right now to get into that 12. The reason I say those 5 that I named, I think LSU is good. Not great, but good. I think Georgia is good. Really, really good. I think Alabama is interesting because I don't think that they're great on defense, but when they get the offense clicking, they can score some points. And in college football, with the mindset of these young kids, if you start scoring points, a lot of these teams tuck their tail and call it quits and wave the white flag early. And Alabama's a team that can jump on top of you really quick, or they can get jumped on top of and wave the white flag. So that seesaw. So those are the teams that I think that can get to that point. I know y'all probably somebody whistled and said when I said Texas being a pretender. I'm not. I told y'all I wasn't sold on Manning earlier, and I'm not sold on him. It's even less now.
They got exposed yesterday, man.
Yeah.
Even worse than the week before. So listen, that's why you play the game, right? Beginning of season, they were preseason number 1. So it wasn't just this people on this podcast saying they had an opportunity, right? It was nationally. And you had Ohio State at 2, and some polls number 3. So to Ramon's point, you know, the last 3 weeks, Texas has regressed. Each week they played worse than the week prior. You look at you want to hit your stride, so to speak, right? And if you've got Manning who's getting booed by the Texas crowd, and his coach saying, "I told him before the game, you haven't arrived until you start getting booed." Now let's see how he responds when SEC play comes intact, right? And let's see how he responds to that. Your name is going to get you, 28 for 32 for 350 and 3 touchdowns. Your arm is going to get you there. Your mind is going to get you there, and your legs are going to get you there. So I'm going to be watching Mr. Manning real closely. I know there was some talking about tank for Manning this coming season. And I think we said on this pod last week, there's no way he leaves school this year.
He'll go next year. He'll definitely go next year. Folks, don't go anywhere. When we come back, we are going to talk more about what we saw this week.
Viewers, subscribers, friends, family of the GameTime Podcast, do me a quick favor. All right, reach out and get your T-shirts. If you look to the right of me or the left of me, you'll see both of my colleagues have these beautiful GameTime T-shirts.
Yeah, man, check it out. You see it right here, the logo that you see on the pod.
What you don't see is me with one, because they forgot to give me mine. So you go get yours before I get mine, all right? Because you're closer to the family than I am, because they left me out. I love those two, like cooked food, but they left me out. But you know what? They won't leave you out. Contact Isaiah, contact God. You can even contact me, and maybe we'll get ours together at the same time. All right?
We might.
Get in touch with us for details. We'll take care of you.
Absolutely. Rock the Game Time.
GameTime Podcast. That is right, folks. We are officially selling shirts. If you have any interest in buying them, let us know. $20 is the price for that. We're a startup selling them, so maybe Darrell will be nice. And
maybe some flexibility. You never know. Just reach out and see. These aren't free, but hey, we have some opportunity to put our word out there. The GameTime Podcast, as we continue to grow, for sure.
It's all about support. So if you guys do want to support us, make sure you guys do let us know. Just something we're starting up. Just going to see how it worked. We originally got them made for the pod, but then we had a couple people reach out to me and Darrell about maybe wanting to buy some. So we were like, you know what? Why not make an announcement video? So if you're interested, please let us know, and we will see you guys next time right here on the GameTime Podcast.